Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? June 1st. Here we go. Back at it. Hope you all had a good weekend. Boy, that was a nice distribution. That was a really nice distribution. So, what's shaking out here? Overnight inventory was long. It's actually a picture perfect overnight inventory correction, but it waited up until the last minute to start correcting. But for the whole night, you can see that inventory was the sale of that inventory. So we took it and sold it, and now we put it on sale. So today we're going to watch and see if it holds the Friday low. That's your first big thing to look at. You know, this is a beautiful distribution, right? Put in an all-time high, right? We're moving to, you know, we couldn't take out 75.11 and completely all the way up to the upside. Target was 76.31, but we stopped short, which is good, right? Inventory is still long. Even though we've corrected, as LC said, there's 88% of the trading is above the close, even this part. So let's see what happens if we hold that overnight low when RTH starts and the previous day low. Now if we break, right? If we break those levels, just use what I've got here, 75, 71, and the lower stops. There'll be bids right here underneath the Friday low, and there'll be bids here under 71. These will be where the stops are on the way down. I outlined those stops on Sunday night, but instead of having a correction lower, instead of having this, we weren't able to do that. We did that, and now we're correcting lower. So let's see, number one, do we stay under the close or do we get above it? And if we do stay under the close, can we take out that previous day low? Okay. So had you shorted this thing Friday, you probably would have gotten stopped out Sunday. Now that business is open, you can actually see that there's sellers. Now you want to see where the sellers are marked off. And this way you'll be able to trade with a little bit more intelligence than jumping the gun. Now everybody in the room, right? Last week was just a big complaining session. Everyone's like, I'm not making any money, blah 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 blah. And then again this morning I had those calls with people and messages that so I put in the room and I'd like you guys to go and watch it and read it. Right? So Monday morning, you're all trying to make money, trying to, be better than the Joneses, and I get that. Thing is, now it's time for you to get to work, okay? All right? So it's time to get to work and do exactly what I tell you to do. You'll see that repetition is going to build the discipline, and it's really going to build your desired output, right? I put a video in, where is it here? I put it in the JJ training videos. It's a gentleman who teaches you how to build systems, right? Something that you should all be watching. If you haven't watched it, you really need to do the work, okay? This market's not going to get any easier to trade, right? It's not. You really, really need to buckle down and do the work. Take only the trades that you're qualified to take. Everything else, throw away. Okay? Yeah, let's see. Let's see if we actually get a gap down. That'll be cool. Scott, yeah, if you just want to check out in the room, in the trading syndicate room, it's in the ES. I've put all the links in there for you guys. Sorry, what did I do with the... Yeah, have you come into our room? Yeah, everything's put in there. Um, Along with my sort of little, like, what you guys have to be doing. This market is going to get more and more difficult to trade, right? As the summer goes through, because it's been really tough for retail traders. April was really hard. I was quite sick in April. May, I finally started trading again in May once I got my health back a little bit, and it took a while, and you really, really had to wait for good trades. Like, it'll be choppy, 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 and then there'll be a good trade. And then it'll chop again, and then there'll be a good trade. So we really have to be like snipers, right? You can't just go throwing things around. And now, for those of you who get influenced by social media, by all of this stuff, I had one trader this morning tell me, I feel like crap because, he lives in Taiwan and everybody's making money on these chip stocks. Well, I said, well, either stop reading the news or get to work, right? Or both. Stop reading the news and get to work. You got to get to work. We will give you the framework in which to do so. We'll give you the systems. You got to do the work, right? Feeling sorry for yourself is not a business plan. And I hate to be a hard ass, but My job is to keep you from losing money and help you make money. So let's see. Hey, PH Hunter, thank you. All right, let's see if we can hold. See all these stops down here? These are from Thursday, right? So we're going to come and challenge the Friday low before the open. And then let's see if we can hold all these stops from Thursday's little markup session, right? As we get down to Friday's low, that's where they're going to bid. The faster you realize that you're in a bad trade, the quicker you can get out. Exactly. Unfortunately, most people don't really know when they're in a bad trade, right? Because you're doing business and you're trying to do business, but you don't know that you're doing business, and you've been told just to just use this indicator, or just trade this moving average, or yada, 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 right? So if you don't know that you're in a bad trade, how can you get out of it, right? This is the problem, right? There's no situational awareness, there's no business awareness, and they want to keep us stupid in retail trading so they can keep getting money out of you every month for, $200, $300, $500 a month. All of these scammers are trying to get money out of you. How do you build a business? That's what you're doing when you're a retail trader, right? You're trying to build a business, right? It's a small business. You need to treat it as such, right? So when we open, we've already looked underneath Friday's low, found some bids down there at 77 and popped up. Now, I was using a balance zone up here, right? We're in 8 times discount from that balance. If you're not comfortable with that, you can always wait and draw a balance zone once we start going sideways, right? So if you're not comfortable with going at 8 times discount, all you have to do is just sit and wait, and once the market finds the bid and starts going sideways, you can redraw your balance zone, right? And it's just like people who want to automate their trading. I don't think there's anything wrong with automating your trading. The only thing is, do you know what you're automating? Right? If you don't know what you're doing, how the hell can you automate it? Right? I want to automate brain surgery. Do you know anything about brain surgery? No. Well, how successful are you going to be if you try and automate something that you have no idea how it works? Right? AI will only get you so far. Right? If you're clueless, AI is not going to help you automate your trading, because you will not be able to know how to manage it and how to know when it's on or off, or if it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Right? All that stuff, it's going to be really hard. You know? I had one decent trade this morning, and it was, when we did this little move up past VWAP up and over. That worked nicely. And then I didn't do anything. I just kind of sat and watched. So let's see where we're going to open in a minute, right? Look, there's nothing wrong. Trading systems automation is great. But leave that to the people who know what they're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, how the hell can you automate it something? It's really, really hard. You know? You have to have some sort of clue as to how business works until and when you do, sure, go ahead, automate it. Nothing wrong with that. And hopefully you got somebody like LC who is good at automation, right? That's true. It's like, it's like learning Sierra chart. It's like learning Sierra chart. It forces you to learn about profile. Otherwise, you can't set it up properly. All right, we're off. First thing I'm doing is I'm looking to see if we hold the previous day or the Friday low. So here we go. Testing 1, 2, 3. We're looking for the bid. Now for me, there is no reason to buy this. If you're a fast trader, you could buy 79, flip it out at 81. But why not wait until we flush all of the sellers out? Let's take them underneath the previous day low, underneath the overnight low. Let's hold their head underwater until they puke out every contract, and then we can maybe buy it. You know what I mean? There, so you're long 78, 79, sell into the 81s. Do you guys see how that trade worked? You looked below 77, came back up, and you buy 78, 79, and you know there's going to be a seller at 82, right? So as I was talking, that trade occurred, right? Makes sense? Right? That's the look below and fail. So if you had bought 79 and sold 82, 83, you're done for the morning. Right? That's like earlier this morning, I took a contract. I made 3 points with 10 contracts, which means I don't have to work as hard in RTH. Right? I put that trade out. Now let's see if we hold Friday's low. Anticipating a price is tough. You always want to let the market go and find the buyers. Flush out all those weak-handed sellers, right? Go and shake them out, hold their head underwater, force them to sell you their contracts, and then go sell into strength, right? Just like now, right? Long 84, selling 85 and 3/4 and 86 and 3/4 and 87 and a quarter. I'm flat. Okay. Just see if we hold 86, you will get rotation up to 75.90, then 75.93, right? The price action is slower in Globex. It's a lot harder to trade the RTH Open. Yeah, Hex, I would treat the same look below and fail as the first, just because it's you want to see if the bid is still there, right? You just want to see if that bid's there. Right? Your risk is always going to be the same. You're not going to let it work anymore or anything like that. your risk is going to be the same, so you might as well go and take it if it looks below and fails, right? The the most important thing is the fail, right? If it doesn't fail, then there's no trade, right? If it looks below and it keeps looking, just let it keep looking. So you go without me, and when you find the bid, give me a call, right? When the market goes to find the bid, you just let it, right? You tell the market, okay, you go find the bid. When you found it, let me know where it is, right? Nice work, ATL. 3 points a day keeps the doctor away. Beautiful. We're looking to see if we hold 86. And once again, everything we do is simple, right? Exactly, TBD. People say 3 points isn't a lot, but hey, it's $150 on the contract that I did. After commission, it was like $1,200-$1,300 trade. I didn't sell all of them for 3 points, but it was rounded out to about three, so I made like $1,300 on the trade. You do that once a day, and you got a 20 grand month, right? You're not killing yourself trying to make 30 points on a trade. If you're good at picking direction, but you're too early, I can help you with that. Come into the room, and we'll teach you how to train yourself on a method where you have a system on how not to get into trades early. We can help with that because it sounds familiar to what happened to me a lot. I'd get in, get stopped out, and then the trade works. Sound familiar? Story of my life, right? Get in too early, trade goes against you, you get stopped out, then you take it again, and then you don't. By that time, then you don't take it again, right? Happens to me all the time. That's why I came up with the 5 steps where we do the same 5 things every day. Build that system, right? Right. So the method that I use for trading is a business, right? So it's great that the percentages are a certain way, but do you have a repeatable business? Do you know how do you execute? How do you manage your risk? Do you understand the business reason for the trade, right? If you don't understand why you're taking the trade, it was just picking a direction and hopefully that the odds are in your favor. Well, I suppose that's okay, but that's not how people make money in the business, right? Thanks, Anne Marie. And thanks for sending me that podcast. I'll have to listen to it. It's funny, Anne Marie sent me this podcast. She's like, "Hey, this happened up in your neck of the woods," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's the first deal I ever worked on." Back in the early '90s, mid to late '90s. Yeah, my client had, I think he had 7 to 10 million shares that I knew about, that he told me about at 10 cents, and we sold 5 million of those shares over $100 a share. So that's when he made his first 400 million bucks. It was something to really, it was the first deal I ever worked on. I was a complete rookie, so it was very eye-opening to see how people could make that kind of money on one stock. It's all fun and games until someone gets thrown out of a helicopter, though. There's that 75, 95. We know there's going to be sellers here, right? They sold here. They sold again. Yeah, so that guy would, when that stock was 30 cents, he gave the CEO, I think it was 600 grand or 700 grand, and he got stock at 10 cents. He got it at a massive discount to where it was trading. And he was hoping to maybe make 20 or 30 cents on the stock, and then it ran. Well, that's what you do with a geologist who's going to think on you, right? You got to throw him out a helicopter. Dead men tell no tales. It's a crazy business. Now, got a little chop here. Let's see what happens. Right. So we've done a look below and fail of the Friday low. Right. There are bids under there. It's a fresh month. We got all sorts of fresh money coming into the market. So let's see what is the next, what's the next business transaction on our agenda here, right? I think we'll come back and test 36 again. With the SpaceX IPO, is there a way for insiders to get around the lockup? I'm sure there are, Ronan, but I wouldn't really worry about it right now, right? It's probably one of the most regulated IPOs that's coming out. So it's not like a penny stock deal, Here's the thing too, right? Most of those people are looking for massive capital growth, right? Go ahead, AO. What's with your question? Yeah. What you should do, Ronan, is look at the Ron Barrett interview I posted. Yeah, so there's some regulatory changes coming along. Thanks, Anne Marie. Could you maybe send me the link on that? I'll take a look because I haven't looked at that stuff. I'd appreciate it. Yeah. So these space companies and I mean Goldman Sachs is the lead book runner on SpaceX, right? It's at like a higher level, Ronan, than penny stock IPOs, right? You'll hear a lot of rumors, but the thing is, institutions really could care less about us, right? All they want us is to come in and transact. They know how are you going to move SpaceX? As a retail trader on a $1.8 trillion IPO, you're basically like, you know, you're like a little amoeba on the back of an elephant. You're like a subatomic particle. They don't care about us. They're worried about longer term institutional things. look at stuff at, you know, they don't care at all about us. You know, there's a lot of stuff you'll read in these Reddit blogs, and it's just people who don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. You know, talking about IPOs and the banks are holding it up to short and like, listen, these people want you. If you're taking down $900 million worth of a stock and you're holding it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. It's a little bit bigger than what retail traders think about. You guys have no idea the size of that business, right? You have trillion-dollar institutions taking down massive positions. They could care less about us, right? Yeah. Most of those people, they're not going to be flipping SpaceX, right? SpaceX it's not like some cheap retractable needle IPO that Jordan Belfort's doing, right? Remember the 90s, the retractable needle deal? That was the biggest, right? This is sort of at the next stage of technological, the revolutions that's happening. So they're not going to be trying to get out of their lockup or backdoor shares or, you know, the amount of money is astounding. They don't, and see, the thing is, Goldman doesn't need to screw retail over to keep its lights on. Have you seen the building that Goldman built, AO? Google the new Goldman building in New York, and you won't take these things seriously at all, brother. Right? Now we've got a little distribution here above 75.90. Yeah. So do you really think that they need to screw around with us to keep the lights on in that building? No, man. We're not even a nice light snack. Thanks, Anne-Marie, for sending me the article. Much appreciated. Right? We're nothing. Right? So, yeah, don't worry about all that. What I'm waiting for is for SpaceX to IPO. Then, look for a good point to get into the thing if you want to get into it for my investors. I hope it does sell off so you can get some good cost basis stock, right? The best thing would be if they Palantir it, just jam it down, hold it under $10 for months, and then ram it. That would be good. All right, so we are underneath 75.95. I don't see a trade right here. We're just in a little bit of gentle distribution. All the cheap product is under 75.86 from early off the open. I'd love for this thing to pull back to the 88s or 87s. But if enough people are trapped short under 86, add it at 92. And if they all come in and cover now, we're going to go to VWAP. Okay? It's just rotation, right? See, it's just kind of teasing you right now. It's just kind of teasing us. Good, there's a seller. Yeah, honestly, years ago when people said they want to live on Mars, I went, have you seen the pictures of Mars? I'd rather live in Hawaii. Right? I have no desire to go to Mars. But hey, right? I'm an old guy. What are the effects of CTAs on ES futures? Who cares, AO? My brother, I love you. Don't go down all these rabbit holes. Who cares what the effect of CTAs are on ES futures? I want you to make money every day. Get all that stuff out of your head, right? Just focus on how you do business and how you make money in your business. Don't worry about the CTAs and the institutions and all of these guys. Look at your cost basis. You know, I've seen your videos that you asked me to look at, right? Look at your cost basis. Go back to the basics, right? Don't, excuse my language, stop fucking around with all this stuff because it's not getting you anywhere and you're just going to burn brain cells. You know, you only have a certain amount of attention span and mental capital. Don't screw around, right? You know, don't screw around wasting your time with that, right? Yeah, man. I think it's a lot cheaper to go to Hawaii than to go to Mars. Now let's see if we can get up above 75.96. I don't know. But hey, if you guys want to go to Mars, God bless. Right? Let's see if we can get up and stay over 96. Take a little trip to VWAP, you know? Yeah, not even a Scooby snack, man. Not even a Scooby snack. We're like plankton, right? The only people who care about us are companies like Robinhood and Schwab, and they just want to get a bunch of us trading and keep us trading, right? I mean, Goldman is not courting retail traders, right? I mean, you can't even open an account at Goldman if you wanted to, unless you are a high net worth individual. And trust me, they're not going to give you trading software, right? They're just going to say, okay, if you got 50 million or more, we'll be happy to manage your money, but you're not going to trade because you're just going to lose all your money, and then we'll have to fire you as a client, right? Investment banks and big white shoe brokerage firms, they don't want you trading because they know you're just gonna throw all your money away, right? Yeah, 5 million even clear through GS, right? I'm talking like private client services, LC, where you get a coffee mug. Yeah, see, 6 million liquid minimum balance to open a Goldman investment account. And trust me, they're going to do everything they can keep you. Oh, I want to trade through it. No, that's no. Because that $6 million will go to $6 in about 3 months, right? Okay, we're waiting for a setup. We're trying to distract you. It's true. I had a friend whose mom was a billionaire, and he lost $6 million trying to trade futures in the 90s. And then decided he'd make it back, and he started betting on Vancouver Canucks hockey games, and he lost another $5 million. And that was it. Then his mom cut him off. I don't even know how the Canucks are doing these days. All I know is I was the bouncer who didn't know who Trevor Linden was when he came to the club at the front door and tried to get past the lineup. I gave the poor guy a hard time. He said, "Hi, I'm Trevor Linden." I said, "Hi, I'm JJ. Nice to meet you. Lineup's over there." Oops. I've done that with a lot of famous people. They're like, "Hi, I'm so and so." I'm like, "Hi, yeah, the lineup's over there, pal. Only about 2.5 hours before you get in." Owners behind me just screaming at me because they were big hockey fans, and of course I had to apologize. Come on with this chop. Good grief, this is taking a while. That's what I'm kind of thinking, LC. It would be, I don't think it would be morally correct to not go test that Friday low again, you know? But gosh, it's taking its sweet time about it, isn't it? And this is the problem with this market, right? Because you get a nice big couple of candles and then it gets slow. And then you get a nice big couple of candles and then it gets slow, right? Yeah, NQ looks smoother until you go and trade it with only 3 contracts aside in the order book. That's the problem, right? Yeah, no kidding. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's like, if Walter Payton came to the door in those days, I would know who he was, right? I haven't looked at oil all in a while. I haven't even read the news this morning. I've had my head in AI trying to learn some stuff. News is bad. I don't think we've had good news in a while, Anne Marie. We never get any good news, right? It's always bad. This is blowing up. This isn't working. Right now, Moran, that's a good question. We are taking all of these trap longs from the overnight and we're absorbing them here. Good looking out. And this is where it's going to test your patience, right? This is where the market really tests your patience, right? Because it forces you to wait for the right setup. I'm looking for a look below and fail of 86 or a look below and fail of the Friday low again, right? Until then, not interested, right? It is Monday, and the common thing on Monday, because, Saturday, Sunday, you're sitting there and you're waiting for this thing. You're waiting for the open, right? And you start, okay, I've been sitting here, I've done my research, I've done my prep. If you haven't done that, then you shouldn't be trading. But if you have done your research and you've done your prep, you're ready to go, right? It's going to force you to wait for that A plus setup. It's going to drive you nuts until that setup shows itself. So don't let it get you, right? Don't let them get to you. Just relax and chill. It'll happen, right? The trades will come. But there's no point not having any money when the trade comes, right? So there's a look below, 86 and a quarter. So say we jumped in and we grabbed some 87 product, right? I would use the bottom of this candle as my stop. See how it jumped? It just jumped under 86 and a quarter. And it's going back and forth. If it starts going back and forth a ton there, right, I'll scratch the trade. Right? See, I was too early, right? Happens all the time. You get in too early, you just scratch, right? That's a very good question, Blackhawk, right? And thank you for reminding me. Rollover is coming, right? And we had a lot of heavy short covering. We are more likely to see a correction this week for that, and also the fact that we're going to start splitting volume between two contracts, right? So as soon as you start splitting volume between two contracts, you that that short edge is kind of starting to look how Jesus, look how thin the order book is. It just thinned right out. Data too, right? The data's coming. Now it's starting to thicken up again, right? Yeah, and thank you for reminding me. I hate rollover. But in our room, I have a video on how to simplify rollover so it doesn't drive you crazy. The weird thing is, it just seemed like we rolled over the contract in March, right? It's like this quarter has just flown by. Still sitting on my hands. A lot of trading these days is waiting for everybody else to go blow themselves up and then take the trade. There we go. Finally up over 86, 87. You can see that there's sellers up in that 90 area. So make sure you get liquid. Do you re-enter the trade right away? Only it's easier said than done, 92, right? It's easier said than done. A lot of times when I first started doing this, right? When you get stopped out, I used to always like stop and take a break and then the trade would work. After working over and over and over again, then I've learned to get stopped out, and then get into the flow of taking it again. But it does take time, and it's something that you have to work on. Hey, FG, hola, hermano, ¿qué pasa? Hey, listen, man, I need to do a call with you, and you need to explain how to use your software, okay? Because it looks really good, but I have no idea what I'm doing on this thing. So this week we need to do a call. Appreciate it. Thank you, brother. You really have to sell into strength and get in and out trades, right? I'm sorry. I was sick all of April, so I didn't. May was like I was catching up in May, and now in June I'm ready to do a bit more business. Okay, what's next here? Whew. Endless chop. Chop, chop, chop. That's okay. it's Monday. You can be a little lazy on Mondays, right? Be a little lazy. Remember, you're always playing the long game in this business, right? Which means you're trying to be long-term greedy, right? And being long-term greedy sometimes means, you're sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting for the right business transaction to come by so you can jump on it. You don't want to, you don't want to swing at the first pitch that goes across the plate. For those of you baseball fans. LAF means look above and fail. It's a short. When the market looks above a level and the sellers then start marking price down underneath that level. It's a tougher trade to take in market conditions where, like we're at all-time highs, you got to be in and out really quick. The look below and fail LBF is not an easier trade, but the thing is you're trading with the flow a little bit more. So you're going long after a liquidation. And those trades are a lot easier in markets, not easier, but a little bit easier to time. And they're more forgiving because when a market has a big short position like this one does, going into contract rollover and that kind of thing, there's a lot more responsive buying than selling. You'll see that happen over and over and over again. Shorting is great, but you got to be quick. You have to be quick. You got to cover really quickly. Like right here, there's no trade. I know everybody's waiting and looking for a trade. There's nothing to do here right now. So just relax and chill out. Right? Knowing when to trade and when not to trade is, oh my God, it's huge. Right? We spend a lot of time in our trader development trying to get people to, be patient and all that stuff, but really it's about waiting for, okay, I only trade when this happens. If this doesn't happen, you're not getting my money. You have to be very, very stubborn, right? We have a trader in our room, and she always, she said this about 3 weeks ago. She goes, listen, you got to be picky about when you do business on the chart. Right now, if you're long, there's going to be sellers under 90, and they're going to be sellers. This is where your sellers are going to be. So if you're long biased and you build a position here, right? Say you're building an 86, 87 position, put your sell orders out here and make sure you sell into that strength. Now, why wasn't I taking a short? Because every time we came down to 84, it was bid. They stopped selling when they got to 84 and raised price. Where do you think this could go if they shut off supply? Freaking think it'd go to 8,000 if they shut off supply. But right now, today, I'd go 86 to VWAP. If we clear VWAP, we're going to take this cheap crap and we're going to go and sell it up here. And if that brings buyers, then higher. Right? The top of my zone is 76.31. If we end up taking out Friday's high and the overnight high, your target will be 76.31. And I'm working on some more levels as we go. So what they're doing right now, what's going on in the market, it's very clear. You have all of this trapped long inventory up here, right? And we're flushing it out. We're putting a position together so we can go and take it back up and sell it. That's all we do. That's all markets are, right? It's just the rotation of inventory, right? You buy a bunch, you sell it, you put it on sale, you buy it back, you take it back up, sell it, right? Yeah, we're only like 10 points away from 7,600. As soon as we clear VWAP, 7,600's on deck. It's not that tough a goal, right? Nice work on the ATL. Another 3 points. Beautiful, beautiful, right? Just in and out. 3 points here, 3 points there. It adds up, you know. If you're doing 3 to 5 contracts and you're doing 3 to 5 points, you know, even if you're doing 3 to 5 contracts on 3 points, you know, that's a beautiful thing, right? You know, $150, 3 contracts, that's $450. You do that trade twice a day. You know, you're making $800-900 a day, right? And if you lose 100 or 200 of that, stop trading and keep the rest. Very simple. Very simple, right? You know, if you're making 500 to 1,000 a day trading, as soon as you give back 10%, you should stop. I'm a big believer in keeping the money you make. That's great. Now, a lot of people will say you should not have a target and you should keep trading. There are people who don't, you know, they'll say, oh, you know, if you worked at a prop firm, they'd want you to stay in the trade longer and make more money. Yeah, but you have resources if you work at a prop firm. If you're sitting in your house and you're just learning how to be consistent, for the love of God, take the money and stop trading, right? You know, a hero ain't nothing but a sandwich in this business, right? The easiest way to give back money is to try and push an edge that you have not perfected, right? If you have not perfected your edge, if you're not good with controlling your trade, all that stuff, you know, your trade management skills, shut it down and keep the money. Don't let anybody talk you into getting back in there. Right? If you're a larger trader, right? Right? Where's the disconnect? Oh. It's just repetition. So, Mike, that disconnect, this is very common. This is very, very common. Happens to everyone. Just work through that frustration. It will come together. But it takes time, right? And we're still in this chop. Sorry, folks. But when you come into our room and you have issues and trouble, you know, we will try and help you right away. It will come together. When I first started doing this, it took years before I even figured out how to put a proper business plan together. And it's frustrating, right? You got to do it, brother, right? Right? You know, that frustration, it's horrible. Just work through it. We have to work through it. Right? So you'll work through the frustration. And now I'll tell you the next step. You'll start making some money. One week you'll trade like a god, and the next week the business changes and the market changes, and you're like, holy crap, what happened? Right? Right? And then you start getting stopped out everywhere because the market changes and you don't know how to adapt. That's what that's why I spend a lot of time with my folks in the one-on-one coaching, and we trying to teach you how to adapt to that change, right? And you're feeling that right now because the market is changing, TBD, because it's a new month, and a quarter is coming up at the end of this month. There's rollover, right? So once again, just when things start going great, right, everything changes. So we have to adapt, right? So we can recognize changes happening, then size down, then watch and ask questions, right? That's what I'm here for. Then we can learn how to adapt, right? Those if-then statements, right, is the most useful thing. Because if this happens, then we do that. But if this is not happening, right? If this is not happening, then there's change, right? So we keep asking, is this happening? If this happens, then this is how we trade. But if this does not happen, then what do we do, right? So then we have to really start managing our business. It's just like, say you're selling, like say you're selling frozen yogurt and an article comes out on X or something, and they say frozen yogurt causes cancer. You gotta have to quickly adapt your business to sell something else, right? You know what I mean? It's the same thing, right? We're just adapting our business to market conditions, right? Very important. There you go, Liquid. Well done. Yeah, it's pretty choppy. I mean, I haven't taken any trades now for like 20 minutes, half an hour, and I'm perfectly happy not trading until I see a viable business setup, right? Till then, just relax. Don't be afraid to relax, right? Do not be afraid to relax, because when you relax, your brain's going to open up and you're not going to be forcing these trades. When you stop forcing these trades, you'll start noticing things. You'll start noticing little details, right? And the devil is in the details in this business, definitely. This week, Wednesday, we'll have another price action lab, another trading lab, execution lab. So I want to bring your questions, right? Please look, I did a video this weekend on the head and shoulders pattern, the mechanics behind it, and how you should be trading it, how you should be understanding it. Please watch that video for those of you who trade chart patterns. I've asked for chart patterns. I finally got some people who gave me patterns that they want to look at, so we'll do that. Bring your questions. It'll be 11 o'clock Eastern Time on Wednesday in the room, okay? Right? And if you are trading these patterns, when we have the webinar on Wednesday, I want you guys to come in and get on mic and go, hey, JJ, okay, this might work, this might not work. Let's talk about it, and let's get you guys, equipped to trade, right? I put a ton of work, Tim, and all the other folks, not beating up on you. I do a lot of videos. I do a lot of write-ups. I post a lot of stuff. You guys really should be going through it, because I'm not going through it I know all this stuff already, right? I can look at a chart pattern in 10 seconds, break down the business that's creating it and how to do it. But you guys don't know how to do that. Take the time and look at what I wrote this morning. Are you watching the morning video? Are you drawing out your balance zones? Are you testing things? Are you sitting and watching? Are you making notes? Do you rewind the charts at night? There's so much between us as professional traders and weekend warriors, right? How did I get through the frustration? Jimmy, I had no choice. It was either go through the frustration or go and get a government job and just forget about the market. Right? It was the only thing I could do, because what had happened with me is I was taking companies public, everything was going well, My partner stole millions. I had a heart attack. And then my good partner started retiring or dying. Right? So when my best friend and my best business partner, when he passed away, I had no choice. There was either retail trading or there was there was nobody to work with that I could trust. Even now, I'm taking 2 or 3 companies public, and I tried to put together a crew to help me, and I had to get rid of everyone because nobody could do the work. Nobody can follow instructions. So even right now, in taking these companies public, I'm going through the same frustration as retail trading. You tell somebody to do something, you give them a job, and they come back and they keep asking questions about something else. They can't stay on point. I told one of my guys, hey, can you go out and check out the mechanics of tokenization? He spent literally like 10 seconds on it, and then he comes back and he starts asking me about all sorts of stuff that just can't stay focused. You got to work through that. I'm going through it right now on the corporate finance side. But I know now at least I have, AI and all these automation tools that, where I had a team of 10, 15 people, I can reduce that to maybe 1 or 2 competent people. Same thing in trading. Build out that 1 or 2 trades, the look below and fail, and just put all your energy into learning that trade inside and out. John Madden, when he went to a coaching webinar, not webinar, this was before the internet. John Madden went to a coaching seminar put on by Vince Lombardi. Lombardi spoke about one play for 8 hours. I can speak about the different types of look below and fail for an entire weekend. You guys will get so sick of me talking. Get to know one thing and one thing really well. Throw all your energy into that. Do the discipline, do the same thing. And it's like, what's that angry guy who's the ex-Marine, who's always running without a shirt on? What's his name? David Goggins? Right? You got to toughen up. This business is a nightmare. You got to embrace the suck. Right? You got to embrace the suck. Everybody hates that answer, but it's the only way to rip through to the other side. It's the only way to do it. And what you're doing and what you sent me over the weekend is good. Keep doing it, right? You just barrel through it. Put your head down and just keep hammering away, man. Just keep up with the work, right? And that's what I've done, because I started doing deals, and I had one guy, I'd tell him don't focus on this versus, and he would never listen to me, right? And he wasted months. He wasted a whole year chasing down a company that I knew would never go public, right? They were just absolute criminals, and he just kept wasting time and wasting time. He wouldn't listen to me, so I had to cut him loose, right? It's the same thing with bad trades. Cut them loose, right? Yeah, it's okay, Mike. It's just like playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out versus actually stepping in the ring. Practice accounts don't punch back, right? That's the thing. The sim, the sim does not punch back. So what we'll teach you how to take a punch. Right? Just like in boxing, the heavy bag doesn't punch back. I wouldn't say downside's limited in 92 until I see it. Right? You're probably right, right? So what I'd do is, if I were you and you were building a long position, that's your out. You're building a position here to sell up here. But if it breaks that, then you're out of the trade. No, market conditions are always changing, Mike. I'm going to DM you, okay? I sent you a DM. Cool. Alrighty, folks. Hang in there, okay? Hang in there. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. Hang in there. Right? It's Monday. Don't let this market take all your hair. Have a good day. We'll see you. Come join us at the Trading Syndicate. We'll teach you how to do this. We'll teach you how to take a punch and keep going, okay? Have a great trading day. And as usual, don't take candy from strange market makers, folks. We'll see you soon. TradingSyndicate.org. And thank you very much for being with us. Bye for now.